Something is changing in Nigeria, and it's not subtle. You can almost feel it in the air. The headlines are louder. The conversations are more intense. The tension feels heavier than usual. This is not just another security update or political drama. This is the kind of shift that quietly redraws power lines, rearranges alliances, and alters the future of a nation before most people even realize what's happening. Nigeria is stepping into a new security era, one that comes with bigger promises, deeper risks, and foreign boots touching our soil. Yes, foreign boots. In January 2026, a specialized United States military anti-terrorism team arrived in Nigeria. Not tourists. Not observers. Not diplomats. Trained military personnel. Tactical advisors. Intelligence specialists. The kind of people who normally operate in war zones, not friendly visits. And as soon as they landed, the whispers started spreading like wildfire. Is America setting up a military base in Nigeria? Are we becoming the next front line in a global power struggle? Is this protection or occupation in slow motion? This is not conspiracy chatter anymore. This is real geopolitics unfolding in real time. Just days before the deployment became public, the United States Africa Command, AFRICOM, confirmed the delivery of critical military equipment into Abuja. But this wasn't just crates of ammunition or spare parts. Along with the supplies came elite trainers from the U.S. Army Security Assistance Command, operating under a unit called SATMO, the Security Assistance Training Management Organization. These are high-level military instructors whose job is to reshape how armies fight, plan, coordinate, and dominate battlefields. They are now training Nigerian infantry units at platoon and company levels. Side by side. In the field. On Nigerian soil. Officially, it's called partnership. Strategic cooperation. Capacity building. Knowledge exchange. But let's be honest with ourselves, once foreign soldiers start training your troops inside your territory, you've crossed into a completely different security reality. And this didn't start suddenly. Let's rewind the clock. December 25, 2025. While families were sharing food, exchanging gifts, and celebrating Christmas across the country, something very different was happening in the skies over Sokoto State. U.S. military aircraft, in coordination with Nigerian forces, launched airstrikes targeting ISIS-linked militant camps in the northwest. That operation changed everything. It was a loud message to anyone paying attention. America is no longer watching Nigeria's security crisis from a distance. They have entered the battlefield. And when a superpower enters your battlefield, nothing remains the same again. Now let's talk money, because global power never moves without serious funding. For the 2026 fiscal year, the United States approved a massive $413 million security allocation dedicated specifically to counterterrorism and stabilization operations in Nigeria and West Africa. This funding was authorized under the National Defense Authorization Act signed just weeks ago. That's not charity. That's strategy. When a foreign government commits nearly $500 million to security operations in your region, they are not just helping, they are positioning themselves. They are building influence. They are planting long-term stakes. And in military logic, that kind of investment usually requires infrastructure, logistics hubs, intelligence centers, rotational bases, and permanent coordination facilities. In simple terms, you don't spend that much money without building something to protect it. Which is exactly why the conversation about a possible U.S. military base in Nigeria keeps getting louder. Now, here's where things get complicated. On one side, Nigeria desperately needs help. Our troops have been stretched thin for years battling Boko Haram, ISWAP, bandit networks, kidnappers, and insurgents across multiple regions simultaneously. Equipment gaps, intelligence limitations, funding challenges, the pressure is relentless. American surveillance technology, drones, satellite intelligence, training systems, and air power could dramatically tilt the battlefield in Nigeria's favor. We've already seen advanced aircraft deliveries like the A-29 Super Tucano. Now the human expertise has arrived to match the hardware. Even Nigeria's Chief of Army Staff has publicly welcomed deeper cooperation, acknowledging that modern warfare requires partnerships and advanced intelligence integration. From that perspective, this looks like progress. Hope. A real chance to finally push back violent groups that have terrorized communities for over a decade. But every coin has two sides. When you invite a superpower into your backyard, you don't just invite protection, you also inherit their enemies. Right now, the world is quietly entering a new Cold War-style competition. The United States, Russia, and China are aggressively expanding their influence across Africa. Russia is consolidating military partnerships across the Sahel. China is locking down economic corridors, ports, and infrastructure. America does not want to lose strategic dominance in Africa, especially not Nigeria, the continent's largest population and one of its most powerful economies. So the question becomes uncomfortable but necessary. Is this anti-terror deployment purely about protecting Nigerians, or is Nigeria becoming a strategic chessboard in a global power struggle? And if tensions escalate between these global giants, where does that leave us? Now, if you're finding this breakdown valuable and you want to stay ahead of the stories shaping Nigeria's future, take a second to like this video. It helps push this conversation to more people who need to understand what's happening. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button now. This channel doesn't shy away from complex truths, we break them down clearly and fearlessly. Alright, let's continue. For years, Nigerian officials have consistently denied plans to host any foreign military base. The official position has always been clear: Nigeria is sovereign, independent, and does not allow foreign bases on its territory. But let's examine the pattern carefully. A joint security working group has been quietly established. A lobbying agreement was signed by Nigeria's national security leadership with a U.S. firm to strengthen ties with Washington. The $413 million security allocation was approved. And now U.S. military personnel are actively training Nigerian troops inside the country. In military reality, the difference between a training facility and a base is paper thin. Once you have permanent structures, rotating personnel, logistics pipelines, intelligence systems, and continuous operations, you effectively have a base, regardless of what you call it publicly. Even Kaduna State's governor recently discussed plans for expanded military installations to combat banditry. While officially Nigerian-led, the integration of American intelligence and operational coordination is becoming increasingly seamless. U.S. defense officials have openly pledged intelligence sharing, joint operational planning, and expanded cooperation. That means American analysts are seeing what Nigerian commanders see. Surveillance platforms are overlapping. Data pipelines are merging. The battlefield is becoming shared. This escalation is not happening in a vacuum. Kidnappings remain rampant. Rural communities are under constant threat. Attacks continue in the Middle Belt and Northeast. Public pressure on government leadership is intense. Citizens want results, not excuses. So Nigeria has played its strongest card, bringing America into the fight. It's a bold move. A risky move. A potentially transformative move. If it succeeds, stability could return, investments could grow, communities could rebuild, and economic confidence could recover. If it fails, Nigeria could become entangled in international rivalries, proxy conflicts, and strategic tensions far bigger than our domestic battles. As 2026 unfolds, watch the northern skies. Watch the military headlines. Watch the diplomatic signals. Watch the quiet agreements happening behind closed doors. The Americans are here. The funding is secured. The operations have begun. Whether we call it cooperation, partnership, or something else entirely, one truth is undeniable. Nigeria's security landscape has permanently changed. And the next chapter is just beginning.